So a couple days ago, they did a CT scan. They told me I had blood clots in my lungs. They told me basically that they were going to keep me here. And of course, I have my daughter with me. Um, I can't imagine leaving my 5-week-old at this point with anybody. And I don't have a partner. Like, I'm not in a relationship. Her dad's not in the picture. Um, so I've been able to walk around. I've been able to care for her. I haven't had any issues with that. I did express that because they're asking me about symptoms, and I'm like, well, yeah, I have shortness of breath. Yeah, like it gets worse when I stand up. But yesterday I was feeling a lot better. I haven't once said that my baby's overwhelming me or anything like that because she's not. I have a wonderful baby. Like, she is amazing. And even if she was one of the babies that, cries a lot, like that's basically what babies do. I mean, I have had 3 kids. I definitely know that, and I'm prepared for that. No issue. The issue I expressed was the fact that my baby was showing respiratory symptoms, and I brought her to a few other hospitals to get her assessed, and I feel like they kind of dismissed her symptoms. Like, it wasn't a big deal. And to me, I take it very, very seriously. I have a son who's now turning 8, and he had pneumonia when he was born, and they put him in the NICU for 2 weeks. Anytime he had any type of respiratory illness, they took it very seriously. They checked him out. At one point, they gave him albuterol. They put him on oxygen once because he had croup. And I guess, you could say that's overdoing it. And, maybe you're right. But one thing I do know is I am not a licensed healthcare professional. I am not in the position to diagnose my daughter, and I wanted and relied upon the healthcare system to assure that she's safe, to assure that she's safe to go home and that her symptoms, are manageable. She's not overwhelming to me. What is overwhelming is the fact that I can't help her. Right now, she's doing great. She's a healthy baby. I'm not saying like I have a seriously sick baby. I don't. She's fine. It's just I've noticed when she breathes, she makes noises. She has something called I can't even pronounce it, laryngomatia, which means that the soft tissue in her throat isn't fully developed and it flops. But sometimes when she's feeding and when she's breathing, she makes noises that are very concerning. And I've noticed sometimes she'll start breathing rapidly. Last week, she was really worrying me because she was wheezing, she was breathing rapidly, she was cranky, she was having a hard time feeding. My issue was the fact that I love her and I do not want to see her uncomfortable. I, as a mother, want to be able to take care and protect my child, but when she's having problems that only, a healthcare provider can really assess and they're not doing their job, that's my problem. Um, so I raised my concerns and I was honest and I said, look, I'm frustrated that clearly my baby was presenting, similar symptoms to me, but they weren't really taking her serious. I don't think that's fair. They when I came in and I said I had shortness of breath, they put me on oxygen. They monitored me overnight. They gave me a heart monitor. They did a CT scan and they did an ultrasound. I'm grateful they did that. I'm grateful they cared for me because come to find out I have a blood clot in my lungs. I just wanted the same for her. I want her to be assessed. And so I made some videos, I voiced my concern, and today DCFS showed up. That almost seems malicious. I'm a mother who has voiced some concerns about my child, that I think she needs medical intervention or she at least needs to be assessed properly. and I have DCFS called on me. I've documented the sounds that she makes. Um, I am not a first-time mom. This is now my fourth child. So I know what I'm talking about. I just don't have the resources to monitor her the way that I want to. Um, and, another part of my history is I'm in recovery. Um, I got sober when I was pregnant with her. They put me through detox. I got on Suboxone, and I actually tapered almost off of the Suboxone, which is considered medication management for opiate addicts. Which I am an opiate addict, but I have been clean, and I've almost it's going on like I've been clean almost a year, and DCFS came in. It's like they couldn't find an excuse to justify why they were called. So I asked, I said, why? I'm sorry, why are you here? Well, we just want to make sure Leah's safe and that, you're able to care for her. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm actually doing a lot better today. I can walk around. I'm getting up. I'm fine. And she's like, oh, well, okay, that's good to know. Okay, so but you're opening up a case? That's really, really serious, actually. You're opening up a case because why? Like, there's literally no justification. Like, I'm sober. I had her at the U about, 6 weeks ago. I was sober when I had her. I was sober through my pregnancy. Yes, I had a drug addiction. That is no longer the situation today. So why were they called? I don't understand. And I asked her this. I said, I'm sorry, why? Well, you had drug addiction in your history. Okay. So I almost feel like I'm really quick going to educate myself on my rights because this is my child and this is a serious situation. I don't take DCFS lightly. Um, it's not okay to just come in and open up, or basically, I just feel like I spoke up about an issue I was having, and now all of a sudden there's backlash. Like I get punished indirectly. Um, I almost feel like it was like a threat, and I felt like since I've been throughout the beginning of my pregnancy, the minute I got pregnant, it was like I wasn't being informed. They told me at the hospital I wasn't allowed to take pictures of my ultrasound. Um, there were times when I got an ultrasound where like they didn't even let me see. I had to advocate for myself. So I didn't just get one ultrasound. I went a lot of places and got ultrasounds because I felt like they weren't being forthright with me. And I felt like since the beginning, the goal, I was worried. Okay, I was worried. So when I had her, and I brought this up to the hospital when I delivered her, but I was worried this was a trafficking situation. That they had used me to have her so they could take her and adopt her out, make money off of it, and then basically just scapegoat me and say, oh, well, she's a drug addict or she's a bad mom or this and that. Like the reality of it is it's trafficking. It's human trafficking. The reality is I love my child. The reality is I am able to care for her. The reality is my paychecks get cut in half. There's absolutely no justification for that. I no longer get a tax refund. I can't, cops won't help me. There's no intervention legally. I, let's see, whew, I'm billed and taxed for things that are fraudulent. I was double charged for my car. I could go on and on and on about the injustices. And the reason I'm nervous about this is because when I've gone to the police and asked for intervention, they do not intervene. They allow this to happen. When I got assaulted in my own house, I went to the hospital and they literally refused to give me a rape kit test. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and make a video and explain all of that, explain my story, what I've been through, that led me to this point, why I'm making a channel. It's because I need help. Um, but to me, it makes me nervous because it's like I don't have human rights, really. And I know you could say, oh, well, all you have to do is this and this and this. It's like, no, it's not that simple, because when you don't have resources to help you and you can't call the police because the police won't do their job, you can't report fraud on your bank account. And I actually documented this. I went over to the bank and asked them to file an affidavit, and they would not let me. On my own bank account. Literally wouldn't let me file fraud. Somebody got disability in my name using my social. They wouldn't intervene with that either. Like, I have to push and push and push and push to basically just get basic rights with certain issues. And I don't want to say that I have it the worst. I definitely don't. I know there's people that have it a lot worse than me, but like, it still does not make this okay. What's even worse is I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other people out there struggling too. And I think a lot of it has to do with, like, I don't think we're being told the truth about the state of our nation. I don't think we're being told the truth about a lot of issues. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off topic, and I'm going to post a video later and kind of explain everything. But I guess my main frustration right now, I feel like I stood up for myself. I stood up for my daughter because I didn't know what to do. Because, as a parent, at the end of the day, you can go home and say, I was able to protect my child. That's like the core foundation as a parent of what we do. And when you feel like you can't even do that, I'm not saying, like, I don't think the lady from DCFS was being aggressive, or, she was nice, but nice doesn't explain the truth, because it wasn't justified. I voiced some concerns about the healthcare industry not taking my infant seriously because she's been wheezing a little bit, and all of a sudden I have a social worker in here, like, having nurses come and help, like, monitor me with my baby, and I'm like, what the hell? I never once, and I'll say this one last time, I never once said that she was overwhelming me. My daughter is fine. I'm not overwhelmed. What's overwhelming to me is the fact that I cannot trust the healthcare system with my daughter. That's what bothers me, is they don't do their job. They'll do their job with me, and I'm not necessarily complaining specifically about this hospital, but, like, they handled my situation, I think, the way they were supposed to. And I guess my main frustration was, like, why wasn't my daughter handled the same way? And she's an infant and she can't speak up for herself. This really struck a chord with someone, because now I have DCFS showing up, and their justification is that I had a drug problem in the past. And it's like, okay, but how is that relevant to today? Oh, well, it's no big deal. We're not trying to take your kid away. Well, you're opening up a case on me. That's serious. That's not just, I don't mess around like that. And And I'm not at the advantage to where I can stand up for myself because, let's be honest, I can't call the cops. They don't help. The state of our nation is like, I'm just wondering why this doesn't get talked about enough. I know I'm not the only one. I've heard stories of people and, injustices and stuff like that, but I I need to know what to do, where to get help, and I'm going to post a video and explain all of my situation. But the number one situation right now is like, when with the Department of Family Services, like, when are they, I guess, can they just open a case just to open a case? I mean, aren't there certain protocols they have to follow? Like, they can only open a case if they meet certain criteria. Like, I don't know. I need more information about this. Um, I I recorded the incident. I asked her all of those questions. I do not feel like she was being forthcoming to me with all the information because it just doesn't add up. So my goal is to find some other channels of people that have gone through this. I've had some experience with this, but that was back when it's a different time, I guess. I don't know. So, thank you.